Hello guys, today I like to talk a little bit more about, and women of course. Today I like to talk a little bit about goal setting. So let's say um, you are having this life right now, version 1, and you want to manifest a new life or another life. So maybe you want to improve your health, maybe you want to have a love life, maybe you want to have a house, money, want to lifestyle, want to travel, you know, or a job, you want to make a transition or want something else, or maybe just the way you are in the very essence, So it doesn't have to be something materialistic or a person or something, and where I'm going with that is in goal setting. A lot of people, I see that in manifesting programs and also in general, is that people have not defined their goal very clear, and that's because of different reasons. One is because they think if they reach something, then they think that they can have a certain lifestyle. For example, I want to have this particular life and I think I need so much money, so I'm going to manifest first a lot of money so I feel empowered and I feel the freedom of to do what I think I can be doing. But that's actually not the shortest way. You can better tune into lifestyle you want and then see what kind of inspired ideas come to fulfill that. So money is the co-creative component, but not the first goal. So what I see in the manifesting programs is often that they want to manifest a large chunk of money, and I think that's largely because when you start to become a deliberate manifester of your reality, and people do not really believe that so much in the beginning that you're doing so, and the only thing what people appreciate then, if you show that proof, for example, to manifest a large chunk of money, then it's more like people say, "Oh yeah, this stuff is really works. This person will become a millionaire in a few years or something." Like, wow, I think this stuff really works. But if you just say, "Okay, I've manifested in a perfect relationship, the love of my life," which maybe is even harder for that particular person because of blah blah blah, it would maybe less appreciated because they do not. It's not so tangible for so many people, right? And I felt sharing this. So for goal setting, it's important to understand why you really want it. Why? And then some answers come up, and then you say also another why. And then it has to be a goal with integrity. So what I mean with integrity is when you start to deliberate manifest your reality, you start to understand that there's certain universal laws um, on the basic foundation of the reality. One of them is what you send out is what's coming back to you. So if you have a goal that is, over the, ruling over other people, for example, or something like that, you might think twice because it could backfire. And I think we see that also in the world. If you want to think I rule the world or something like that, I think if you make that feel empowered, of course it's from deep rooted fear, because you can never become more empowered by ruling over something or having something in the outside world, because when you start to awaken, you understand that everything derives from you, comes through you, right? But it's an old ego that refuses to look within yourself. So if you think the goal of having more makes you more fulfilled, it's not a real goal, because then you live basically in fear by the absent or the present of a certain goal, which then lowers your frequency in your. So I think you guys know a bit where I'm going, right? So think about a goal twice, also because if you make a transition from one to another version of your ego, you carve your ego structure, and that's a bit of a transformational work. And you might want to ask if where you're heading to, what are you transforming, in which direction, because transformation is a bit of work. So once you have defined a worthy goal, um, people get tangled up in the process over time. They think in the how I'm getting there. But it's not the task of the physical mind to think in the how, because the physical mind's only designed to imagine something what it could could materialize, and also to perceive or see reality, so to speak. But actually it's not really seeing reality. The eyes are more like filters to your inner world. It's a bit of, so think about it. Actually the eyes are filters to your inner world, to what you believe it to be. So the outside world is not so real as you think it is. It's a bit, to get into that, you have to use a bit of a whatever, DMT or something like that. But once you get to understand that, that the outside world is just a reflection from within, and you see that you're actually living in a hologram, you start to experience that. Yeah, it's something clicks, and then you think, ah, man, I better not to try to change anything in the outside world because it's already me, right? So don't try to think in the how, but more try to tune into that state of your future desired version. So we say in manifesting, we say state of being matters. And what I mean with matters is materializes. So your physical reality experience around you, what you see, is crystallized belief, crystallized conscious. So largely what you experience in the 3D is already being given, but you get the chance in this incarnation to mold a little bit left, right to your desires, like, partner, house, and blah, blah. And so we all have different things to explore in the 3D. We can look in an astrology chart a little bit, what kind of archetypes we like to explore. And the circumstance you encounter is not so important, but more the state. The state matters. So you want to practice that state. So if you tangle up yourself in the process of in the how, you're figuring out, you're charging your mind with all kind of things and processes, even from that version, you never get to version 2, or with a lot of struggle. So the idea is to practice your future desired version as it is already there. So it has to be some sort of a goal that you can hold in your frame as in today. So if you say, if you live like 20 years of €1,000 a month, and you think, next month I'm practicing the vibration of like a multi-millionaire, it is maybe a bit too big jump to hold, unless it's for you. It doesn't make a big difference in the vibration of for you, if if you already feel that millionaire with that, and it doesn't make you feel different with all that matter, then it's maybe not a big deal. But if you like in a lot of emotional struggle and so on, and surviving energy, and that million would bring you in a state of ease and surrender and so on, then there's still a lot of transformations to be done. So take a smaller goal, for example, if it's money, it's something that you can just believe up in, and then practice that emotion that it will represent. So if it would be more money, you can say, okay, I will feel more comfortable, I feel more at ease, I feel more secure, I feel more free. Probably, these emotions is what you like to practice. And sometimes you do not even get that money, but you get just that lifestyle back. So often it's symbolic as well. I just give an example. I was a bit in Swiss last year. I'm now in France, and the structure, for example, I think, as it comes to freedom and so on, I think their lifestyles in France that give more freedom for €1,000 a month than like a 20,000 a month in Swiss, for example. Just to give you an idea about, and also a millionaire can get stuck in his job, or in his enterprise or whatsoever, and a person that lives on the bare minimum can have an extremely free life. So it's not, the freedom is not always coming through money, right? So let's keep that in mind. So some millionaires, online, they say, oh, I'm a millionaire, I got 6-7 figures, and then you ask them, well, yeah, what did you do to become a millionaire? And then you listen a bit more careful, and then they work like 40-50 hours per week, and then have no no big holidays, no big travels, but the only thing is that they can say they're a millionaire. So what kind of abundance is that if you lock yourself down in an office and hope that you reap the benefit at some point, or you feel empowered? What is it? And I think if you need a big bank account to feel more empowered, you're not a real. You live in fear, because you always have the fear unconsciously of losing that, right? So having said that, so you can imagine. So rather than going from version 1 to version 2, you can also say, this is me in version 1 or 1, and I paste version. That's how I explain it a little bit to my students. Paste your future version on it, right? So don't postpone it to a future. Don't bring it in the past. Bring it to that future present in the now, and keep radiating that future desired version. So what happens because of that radiation, let's say this is your ego, you push out everything that is not a representation of that future desire. So you express yourself through that fusion, you become larger from within, because in another sense your reality happens through you and not to you. So you have to embody that future desired version, not by looking outside or looking for solutions, because that is already the past. Because the past, the circumstances that you created in today is past. So you cannot revert, you cannot progress on something in the outside world, because then you would live in the past. Makes sense, right? So the more you start embedding and shine that future desired version from within through you, the more the negative emotions come to the surface. So you can see it like a chicken. How do you call that little chick? A little. Oh, fuck. This is an egg, right? This is an egg. Doesn't look like it, but it has to open, right, the shell, and so the chicken can go out. So it needs a bit of resistance, compression energy, or you can look at like a grain, and it has to root underneath, and then it becomes a tree. So it needs some power, desire power, and this animal also needs some desire power to break the resistance of the old ego to become your future desired version. And the ego, the resistance ego, is all the smart tricks, all the smart beliefs, all the stuff that try to let you think to not make that work to transform. And this is mostly in the beginning that we're working on, first year actually, when you want to learn something, to transform something deliberately, into your future desired version. Because really, it's a completely different state of mind if you start to really work with your higher self and your physical self. And integrate them in a new way that you have not been used, that the awakening. That's something so completely new. That means that the physical self you give the physical mind a completely different task, and it has to surrender to the higher self, to God, whatever you want to call it. And that gives, in the beginning, a lot of fear. And when that fear comes up, that's perfect, because then we have something to work on, because on every fear, there is a belief. And under that belief, there is a thought, and then if you clean that up, you start slowly tipping the scale from like trying to control something in the outside world, attachment and so on in the physical world, and you release that more and more and more, and then you're more in allowing state. So you're going from a making state, which is the old world, to an allowing state. Sorry guys, allowing. So the more you can stay in an allowing state, the faster you manifest, because in the allowing state you try not to do anything in the outside and let the life circumstances come through you like a movie show, and then you can all the emotions comes up in function to your desired version, and then the transformation can really take place. So a few thoughts here about to manifest stuff. It's a bit of brainstorm thing here. So if you begin with this stuff, I don't know, what can I say? A lot of stuff in the first 2 years, a lot of stuff comes up. Because a lot of emotions, thoughts, and feelings that from your father, your mother, your society, it all comes up, and it's quite ugly in the beginning, because then you don't start to realize how how minimalistic you've actually experienced your reality. For me, at least for me, and for my clients, one of the biggest work is exactly when they started coaching, and it's that they have to overcome the idea that they have not the sadness that they have not understood this earlier, that it is actually so simple, and that they had so much resistance over such a long time. That is actually the most difficult thing in the beginning, that you think, I wish I would have awakened a bit earlier so I could have enjoyed my life a bit earlier. And and I can share that to everyone, of course, but I guess there's a timing for everything and everyone. But I wish I had discovered this stuff 20 years ago. But so here's a few thoughts on that. And what can I say more? The goal we have defined, and allowing the highest excitement formula, of course, we go in, and that's a very important thing we are running through. And the highest excitement formula for Brassia, with following your excitement and so on, is a 5-step program. 5-step. I will talk about it another time. But to run that through the 5 steps, not the first step only, not the second step only, but really all the steps, learns you to really calibrate your higher self with your ego, physical self. I made a movie about the 5 steps of the physical self smell before, but dive into that if you want. I can share a link here underneath. So a few thoughts here. I hope it helps, and wish everybody a beautiful day. Ciao.